All right, I'm not really prone to lots of attention getting things here, but if you're over 40, can I catch you just for a few minutes here? And honestly, just ask you, have you considered having a YouTube channel? Do you know anything about it? Or maybe you've thought about it and you're like, no, that's not for me. Because I'm finding that it's pretty surprising the things that I'm encountering with having this new channel here. And I don't want you to miss out on an opportunity that could be really good for you and honestly really good for others. Hey, I'm Diane. I'm 55. I'm starting a new path on my YouTube journey myself, and it's been really good. Honestly, every day I feel like, wow, I didn't think that was going to happen, and most of them have been really good. I didn't think that was going to happen. So I just want to share a little bit about what's happening for me, and I want to share some of the things that I think maybe could help convince you to see that it could really be an asset for you too. So hey, let's talk about it. So I'm sure a lot of questions immediately come to mind, like, is there even space for me? Is it all too oversaturated? Or what would I even talk about on YouTube? Or maybe, am I too old to do it? All valid questions. All I think that I can provide some good answers for you too. So let's talk about the simple demographics first and just show you the numbers that show how massive YouTube's audience is and how I think there's really a space for any topic that you want to talk about. Okay, so here's a quick look at the numbers. YouTube has 2.49 billion monthly active users. That means that these people log in at least once a month, but many of them much more than that. Some of them maybe once a day or even more. So that number is half of the world's 5.04 billion social media users. So YouTube, among all the social platforms, is the second most used. And when we think of social media, I think we might automatically think that most of the users are younger. But when you add up the numbers of the most recent stats on YouTube, we find that of the over 35 and up, nearly half of the YouTube monthly users are in that age range. The second largest active group on YouTube is between 35 and 44. And then when we throw in all of us who are in that older demographic too, you've got a big chunk of YouTube's monthly audience is in the 40 and up range. If you have something to say on YouTube, the very numbers of the people who are on it on a monthly or even a daily basis show that there are people who are going to be attracted to what you have to say about it and want to know if they agree, if they disagree, if they think the same, if they are older and younger and think differently because of that. The option of oversaturation of something on YouTube really isn't even something that exists. So maybe you're thinking, what would I even talk about if I were to go on YouTube? Well, think about who you are most likely to be influenced by. I think a hint in answering that question is that peer pressure doesn't stop when we graduate high school. I think we're consistently influenced by the people who are kind of similar to us. So if I were 26 years old and telling you, hey, I have a great experience on my YouTube channel and you can do it too, I think you're a lot less likely to what they have to say about it than me, who was clearly over 40 and is trying new things and learning new things. And I think you're a lot more likely to give me at least a little bit more credence in what I have to say when I'm saying if you're over 40, you can make a big difference on YouTube. We're likely to give credibility to those who have some similarities to us. And I'm saying that those kind of circumstances can really work in your favor. So just think of that in the context of half of YouTube's monthly audience being age 35 and up. There's an enormous audience of people who are naturally going to be drawn to what you have to say simply because of your stage of life and the life experience that you bring to the table with whatever topic you might be talking about. That's an enormous advantage. So next positive. All right. So we're reaching midlife, or maybe some of us are already past that. Who knows? And you kind of think at that time, I kind of just like to try some new things. I hear people refer to this time of life as being the 2.0 version starting. That we get to take all that we brought to it and kind of mix it up and push in some new directions. And many of us are empty nesters, many of us are considering retirement or perhaps even already retired. And like I feel like I'm in a place in my career where I don't have a whole lot of creative opportunities anymore. And I feel like YouTube gives me that. And I'd like to encourage you to think about what are the opportunities that let you bring your life experiences and viewpoints and struggles and victories and overcoming and all the things you want to say and create something of value from it for you and for others. Doesn't have to be YouTube. It can be other things. But I will say that I think YouTube has some particular advantages. Um, it gives you the place and the opportunity to sit down and just talk about the things that you want to talk about and the things that you bring a particular knowledge base to. And it lets you do it a piece at a time. You don't have to sit down and write an entire book to put it out. You could, and you could use YouTube to be the one to promote that. You can think about pieces of what you want to talk about in your topic and split it up and hit the high points all by doing the individual videos that go through those things. And it also gives you the great opportunity to improve as you go. I think I feel like maybe every video I'm doing I get a little bit better at some aspects because I'm just doing it and I assess and I get better and I put those things in the next one I'm doing. So you have that process to go through with YouTube. And I just want to encourage you too that you never have to feel like you're a total expert in what you're talking about. You just have to be a couple steps farther down the path than what the people are who are behind you. And so if you're considering having a YouTube channel over 40, those people can be your peers, those people that can be younger, the ones who would want to hear from an older person in that. And you have the opportunity to really just share your experience and let it be a huge benefit because these people can see you've been through it, and you know what you're talking about. You can talk about a hobby. You can talk about something that you have had a life's worth of experience in. You can talk about something you do at work. You can talk about raising a family. Any of these things are options, and any of these things are going to have an audience. But remember, you don't have to be the expert, just a few steps ahead. And I want to be sensitive in how I say this. I think it's easy for a lot of people in our age range, and maybe even especially women, that as we get older, we kind of start to feel a little bit more invisible. The kids are out of the house. Our career is definitely coming to different points. Um, and a lot of the things that we've devoted our time to over the years are really shifting. And those things might be things that have helped us kind of create an identity from them. And the changes are making us feel like we were kind of moving into the background. I get it. But I want to encourage you that having the opportunity to share what you know and to find the people who will benefit from that by the people who find your channel as you continue to put out your knowledge, it's really a heartening opportunity that I hope maybe you just consider that aspect. And again, it doesn't have to be YouTube. You can write a book. You can volunteer more in your community, at your church, or things like that. And things where you're putting yourself out there and sharing what you have to offer. But I'm going to keep coming back that I think YouTube is an excellent medium to be able to do that. So here's one that I think you might find to be particularly good news. Social media has been making an enormous shift over the last few years to go from all the overproduced, lots of edits, crazy dancing in front of the camera, all the stuff that people over 40 don't have any idea what to do with. And it's becoming markedly more authentic and I guess you could use the word raw. And I'm too old to fake it anymore. And I think this is a great time for me to just be able to share things that I think can be consequential, that I think can be helpful, that I think people can gather some benefit from, and I don't have to worry about all the stuff that social media has made us feel like we had to do. It's definitely a season where people just want to sit down and listen and connect. And aren't we very much in a season now where we're having a whole lot more problems connecting with each other? So having just a fairly easy to use platform, I know some of you don't feel that way, but we can talk about that, to just be able to share your viewpoint. And I'm sitting here looking at my phone doing this. I don't have crazy equipment set up. And I'm just kind of sharing my heart on this. And I just want to encourage you that there's definitely things that you could do the same things with. And your authenticity and your relatability is going to be what really shines through. And that's the big attractive qualities on social media now. And perhaps more than any other social media platform, YouTube is where people turn when they have questions. Now, some of it might be functional, like how do I change the light on my headlight on my car? I did that a couple weeks ago. But a lot of times it's becoming more of, people just need help with areas that they're not sure who to talk about with it. Like, how do I raise my teenagers? Or how do I handle my household budget when I don't have enough money to pay the bills? Or how do I grow in my faith? Or how do I recover from a terrible divorce? People want to hear from people who walk through some things. And again, that puts us in the demographic where I think we might have the most to offer to help people with these questions. And again, just think about that people want to relate to people that they feel like they have some commonalities with. So what you say might be very different from what somebody else says, but you're going to draw a certain type of person who you might be the only person that they can really hear from on some questions that are really pretty impactful to them. So please don't dismiss how you can benefit others just from sharing what you've gone through and sharing what you've learned. All right, so that's the heavy stuff. Did it make sense? I hope that maybe you can just think through definitely what you have to share. But there's also the practical benefits, and usually the first one that comes to mind when we think about that is having YouTube help to bring in some extra income. And when we're in this stage of life, especially, I think just having one income stream can be kind of risky. Investments can change overnight. It's not uncommon to hear of people in their 50s and 60s losing their job these days. Or, in America, thinking about Social Security as our future just kind of seems like it's really not going to go too well the longer we go down this path. So having just an extra income source that YouTube can either generate in and of itself or help to support what you're doing can really be an asset for you. So let's hit that too. So when I think people think of earning money with YouTube, the first thing they think is having your channel monetized. So that means that when you hit certain thresholds with a channel, that would be 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours of accumulated hours that people have watched your channel over the last 365 days, then you can apply to become part of YouTube's partner program. So in essence, that means that you will earn money from the ads that YouTube puts on your videos. So that's the first thing that people think about with earning money from YouTube, but it's really not limited to that at all. I think it's really exciting to think about how YouTube can help you to monetize what's in your head, that you can sell what you know. So once you start developing an audience on YouTube by sharing information, you can go deeper with that by having people, sign up and buy an hour of your time that you can use as just consultation and help answer their questions on a one-on-one basis. Or maybe start a small coaching program and charge for people to be part of that. Another thing that I hope to get to start talking about here soon with you is developing digital products like ebooks or very small courses that you can put together without much to do and put your knowledge in that and just be able to sell that you're providing answers for people in a way that they want to get it. And it's really not complicated to put together. Or you can still think about writing a book. I know a lot of people our age think about that a lot. And then you can use your YouTube channel to be a really, I think, efficient and excellent way to promote that. So there's a lot of ways to make money, but here's one that you may not have thought about because I didn't think about it until I started down this road. So Gen Xers and Boomers, by and large, are the ones with the most disposable income. Brands are looking for people our age to talk about the products that they want to promote and influence our peers. Because again, who do we respect their opinions and listen to probably the most? It's going to be the people who had the most in common with us. Generally, just in terms of median income, people over 40 are going to be the ones who have the most disposable income, and brands want to attract people who have the money to spend. So they are looking to over 40-year-old creators to be the ones to speak into that and be influential in helping people make their buying decisions. And because generally there's a bit of a void of people over 40 creating social media channels, there's a need. It's that simple. And, over 40 is an underserved audience in general. And over 40 is an underserved group of people who are putting information out there. So brands are looking for us, and I'd say, let's create what they want. So maybe over the years you thought that social media could be something you could do, but now you're thinking, I'm too old and out of touch. I don't know what to do. I hope by this point in time, I've convinced you that that's really far from the truth. Have I given you some things to think about? I really hope so. And I'm trying to help with, other videos on my channel. I'm trying to create sort of like a how-to series of how to get your videos started just with simple shooting, my process in creating videos, simple editing, and how to sort of go about a process of thinking about what you want to talk about too. So I'm working on that as I go, and I hope you'll subscribe and I hope you'll benefit from that. But it's just not as complicated as what you might think it can be. And it just seems like this is the perfect time to allow non-complicated things to really shine. So will you, my over 40-year-old friend, think about it? Will you consider what you can give? Will you think about how you can benefit from it, and then how you can benefit others? Um, you don't need to be anyone else. You just need to be yourself. You don't need to compete and try to, do the same things as what you see the Gen Z and the millennial creators do. You just need to be yourself. What you have to offer is enough. And when people find your relatability, when people get an understanding of all you've learned and overcome and struggle with and won and lost, and pain and sorrow and victories and all the things that we bring to the table just by virtue of life experience, I think you have plenty to talk about and plenty to share. So, will you do it? I really hope so.